Happy Thursday, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Susie Say That. Today's topic is I can be wrong. Then what? Let's sit in that for a moment. Now say it to yourself. I can be wrong. Then what? Because every one of us can be wrong about things, but it's what you're going to do with it when you find out you're wrong. I was wrong about something at work, and they said, no, that's not the way that's done. That's not the way that's done. And I said, oh, okay. I said, well, who knows the proper way to do it, the correct way to do it? And I went over to a student and I said, oh my gosh, here it is. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Forgive me, because that is the wrong way to do it. And I'm just telling you a simple issue I had with the student, but there's even greater issues. I'm wrong. Now what? What do you do with it? Do you correct it? Do you go back and say, hey, I'm sorry. I told someone they was wrong not too long ago. And I was like, well, that's not right. But let me check and make sure. Let me do a double check. I double checked it. And before I even double checked it, I said, I could be wrong about this. And maybe I am. And forgive me if I am. It's that simple to me. That's the way I live my life. It's really that simple. I can be wrong. Now what? I found out I wasn't wrong. And I told the person, I said, hey, this is the correct answer to that question. And they was like, oh my gosh, I thought different. Do you think they ever told me, I'm sorry, I was wrong? They never said they were wrong. And then I wonder, do this person ever tell anyone they're wrong? Do they ever say it? Even when they find it out? And then I decide to just mind my own business and not worry about their business. That's their stuff. It's not mine. Do I do the right thing? When I find out that I'm wrong, do I correct it? When God even speaks to my spirit and I get confirmation I'm wrong about something, then what? Do I do the right thing? Do I go back and say, you know what? I was wrong. I'm sorry about that. Because everyone's not doing that. And that comes with correction. That comes with maturity. That just don't fall off the yard and then now you able to just tell people I'm wrong. Now what? I'm sorry. It doesn't happen like that. I had a lot of counseling to get me to where I am. And I learned a long time ago, but didn't apply it, that I can say I'm sorry and still not be wrong. I can say I'm sorry just to keep the peace or just to keep on going. Oh, I'm sorry, and just keep on going. And not even admit that I was wrong, because I know already I had information that I applied that said I was right. But just to be able to say, okay. Because when we do that, when you're wrong, now what? You take care of it. And if you're right, now what? You don't feed into it anything about it, because it has nothing to do with you. I'm wrong, now what? I correct it. If I've never been taught how to correct things, then I find out how do I correct things. Because see, it's a problem if you're saying you're sorry to people and you don't know what you're saying you're sorry for. And then if you're wrong and don't know what you're wrong for and not correcting anything. That's now an issue within your own life. Because if the other person is wrong, they just wrong. It has nothing to do with you. I refuse to, at this stage in my life, to pick up other people's stuff. Because I know if I can be wrong, they can be wrong. But I'm not wrong about everything. Watch yourself. For those of you that you are wrong about everything, watch yourself. With those people, with those family members, with those friends. If you wrong every time around and they ain't never wrong and people don't go and say they're sorry, that you into a tough situation. Been there, done that. Where I know people that won't say they're wrong. Not too long ago, this person didn't say they was wrong. They went on their merry way and didn't say 2 words. Matter of fact, I know a couple people that don't apologize. No, they wrong, but when I say, hey, you know what? I missed the mark in that. But then I had to get dealt with about God. That's none of your business. Because then he's told me before, I'm dealing with that person on that. That's what he told me about someone, that I felt that they did me an injustice. And I wanted to call them on the phone and tell them about themselves. Now, if I was wrong, then what? You can tell me, and then I'm going to say, okay, I'm sorry about that. Because I just want to be done with it. And that is not gaslighting you. When a person say, okay, I'm sorry, I'm wrong, and you want to constantly talk about it, you want to constantly, that's your emotional stuff that you need to constantly talk about it. But if they say to you, I'm wrong. And, I had another episode with someone that I care deeply about. And I said to her, I said, listen, I'm not going to go, I've been through that before in my life. with families and other friends. I can't be in a relationship where there's one way. I can't. Relationships, healthy relationships, go back and forth. They're on two-way streets. They're not on dead ends. They're not on this and that, because you'll find yourself always saying, I'm wrong, now what? I could be wrong, now what? If I'm wrong, I correct it. If I'm not, sometimes I still have to correct it. But I don't have to take the blunt of those other people things. And I told this person that. And they didn't like it, but then they came back and they said, hey, you were right, I'm sorry about that. I said, because we're going to be like this forever. We love each other, so we're going to be like this, okay? And you're forgiven. I didn't say, well, I want to talk about this again, or I want to, talk about this and that, because they said, I understand the point that you're making. I am sorry. And we ended it. I've had to do that myself. I'm sorry. It doesn't, people think they done took this gaslighting to another level now. If a person said they're sorry, why they got to keep on just going to you, pouncing on, telling about what you feel and all this? You said, they said, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. What you want them to give you? What do you want? They said they were sorry. It's not good enough, even though they went down the map and they showed you where they did you wrong and they said they was wrong. What do you want from them? Now what? You want their life? Oh, you want their life. You want them to go around feeling sad and sorry every day. You want them to walk in unforgiveness of themselves, not to even forgive themselves. You don't want that for them. You want them to think about you all day long, from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. And you want them to replay the scenario over and over and over again. Is that what you want? Because that's what evil does. That's what unforgiveness does. That's what punishment does. That's not what healthy people do. Healthy people say, I'm sorry. I missed the mark. I shouldn't have said this, said that. You got to have the conversation. Healthy people have conversations. There's no reconciliation without a conversation. Healthy people say, I know I did that. Healthy people say, I know I did what I did, and they name it out. Healthy people, because they don't want to keep nothing on themselves. They want to live a life of being healthy. So they don't want to keep that stuff on themselves. They don't. They don't want to have secrets. They don't want to be a secret barrier. They don't want to hold the secret, go to their grave with the secret. Or they don't want to hold the things that they did to you. Healthy people don't want that. They want to say, hey, this is what I did. Yes, I was the one that broke your window. I was the one that did it. I was so upset and I was so angry at you. So I came by your house at 10 o'clock and I busted your window open. I'm sorry. I want to repay for what I done. Healthy people can sit you in your face and say that to you. Healthy people can say it and feel no shame, because they understand that shame was forgiven when they said they were sorry. They understand the apologies. They understand the dynamics of all that. They don't feed into it. Healthy people don't do that to themselves. So you got to ask yourself, are you healthy? Because if a person did gaslight you and you want them to replay it over and over and over again, you want to talk about what happened to you in the third grade and what happened to you, what does that have to do with right now? And the person said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I see your point now. I shouldn't have said that, just as I had that opportunity with someone I care about. I said, I don't want those kind of friendships, relations. I don't want them. And I said, let me tell you why. And I did. And they said, I understand that. And I'm sorry. And I'm telling you, it will never happen again. We're done with that. We're moving on. And we're back like nothing ever happened, because I love that person. So I'm not going to go back and forth with them. I said, okay, that's what that is. And we break bread together and we went on by our business. And they don't mind me telling you, because they know that someone can learn from this. You can learn. I was wrong. Now what? What do you want from that person? You want, just like I just asked, you want their life? You want them to walk around being with a sad face? You want them to just be grieving you all day and all night? They said they're sorry. Ain't nothing else they can do. And then they told you where they missed the mark at. They explained the story. They had the reconciliation with you. And now you still mad at them. You're still talking about it. You want to bring it up every day that they did this. There was reconciliation when they said, I'm sorry. I understand exactly your point. I get it. Like I told that student. I said, I'm so sorry. And I was. I got it wrong. Because here it is right here. This is the way your teacher said do it, etc., etc. This is the way I would have done it. And guess what the teacher told me? That's okay, Miss Hill, because it all came out to the right answer. And I said, no, it wasn't okay, because that's not the way you teach it. And I confused the student because I just did it the simple way that I do it. But that's not the way that you taught it. Well, as long as they get the answer, for me, it was a no. Because you're giving it to them one way, and I can't just step in there and just give it to them another way. And then she also understood. She said, yep, I get it. I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry all the way around that I did that. Okay? Now what? I don't go to school the next day, see the same student. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I messed it up. I'm so sorry. Every time I see that student, I'm saying I'm sorry. For what? We had reconciliation. We talked about it. I talked about it with the teacher. Now we're done. We're moving on. You can't be healthy in an environment where there's nothing moving. Everything is stagnant. You're just sitting up there in it. Oh, let me tell you about what Miss Hill did. Miss Hill messed it up. Miss Hill, and if I did hear a student say it, I would say, okay, we ain't talking about that. We're moving on to the next thing. I said, I was sorry. They forgave me. And I told them I put the paper, I did it wrong. And it really wasn't wrong, but still it wasn't the way your teacher did it. You get my point? Now what? I am wrong. Now what? Some of you all want people's life. You want people to just keep thinking about what they did after the reconciliation. And you can have reconciliation and never talk to them people again. You can. And not because you're hurting, not because you're mad, not because you're angry. You just don't want that person in your space at this time. Y'all left on a good note. I mean, I have a friend that we left on a good note. We didn't talk for years. We came back. You know why? Because we did not go outside of the peace and the love and the joy we have for each other. That's why a lot of you all can't come back. I'm wrong. Now what? Have a conversation. And if that person wants to be in your life and wants to be a part of you, then and maybe not. Maybe it's too late for that. It's over with. It's done. Moving on. God will give you other people. He did it for me. He gave me an amazing sisterhood at my age. A great sisterhood, because I like family. I like unity. I like the peace and the love and the joy that comes with that. And I prayed that God would send me a sisterhood, a real one, an authentic one in my life. And he did just that. Taking me some years to get it, because I had stuff going on within myself. I didn't know how to handle that kind of relationship. But now, because I handle it, I have great relationships. Why? Because now what? I'm wrong. Now what? I can tell any of my sisters that I'm wrong. Now what? And I had before. We've said it to each other. We've been wrong. Our relationship is just not squeaky clean where we don't have issues in my sisterhood. We do. But we always come together and talk about all of it, from it could be nasty to we get it clean. And we do. You hurt me. You offended me. That bothered me. We take trips together. And sometimes, one of us could be wrong about something. Sometimes we have to say, I'm wrong, now what? And we quickly make amends. But we talk about it. We have the reconciliation because we talk about the whole thing. And then we don't go on another trip and talk about what happened on the last trip and remember this and you brought up this. We don't do none of that because we're healthy. That's what immature people do. Healthy people. I was wrong, now what? Are you a healthy person? Or are you sick with this? Because if you're wrong, now what are you going to do with it? Okay, just remember that. As you go about your night, as you go about your weekend, I'm wrong, now what? And if you tell the person you're sorry and you have reconciliation, you don't have to let them just keep on making you relive it over and over and over again. Even if they bring it up. Because some things hurt so bad, another person's healing is in them bringing it up over and over and over again to process all of it, even though they probably forgave you. But sometimes they have to process it over and over again. I remember one time I was watching a show with Dr. Phil on this, been many years ago. I'm talking about many years ago. And he said to her husband that had cheated on his wife, and it was beautiful what he said because it was true. He said to the husband, she always bringing that up over and over again. He said she shall. In so many words, she shall bring it up over and over again till she's made peace with the fact that you did that. In so many words. I'm paraphrasing some of it, but that's what he meant and that's what he said. You get my point? So people will bring stuff up over and over again to their healing, but it has nothing to do with you. That's their own stuff. If you already reconciled and you did these things for your health, you just move on. And if you're going to stay in relationships with them and they want to bring it up over and over again, you got to realize that's their healing. That's their way of healing. And maybe they're not just laying in it or being just digging in the mud with it and rolling over and stuff. Maybe they're not. Maybe it's their way of processing. I forgive you, but I'm going to need some time to just process all this. Well, remember when you did that to me 10 years ago? Well, I do remember. And I really meant what I said when I said I was sorry for it. And if you want to still be in a relationship with that person, you're going to just say, okay, and it's going to take you a long time. And they might just tell you, yeah, it is. Okay? So you remember that as you go about your weekend. I'm wrong. Now what? Till the next time.